Jake Morrison wiped the grease from his hands as he closed up his small roadside garage for the evening. The sun was setting over the Montana plains, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. At 42, he had lived a simple life fixing engines and tending to his modest farm. It was honest work, and that was enough. He climbed into his old pickup truck and headed down the lonely highway toward home. The road stretched endlessly before him, surrounded by open fields and distant mountains. This route had been the same for 20 years, predictable and peaceful, but tonight would be different. About 3 miles from his farm, Jake noticed smoke rising in the distance. His heart quickened as he drove closer. He saw flames licking up from the roadside ditch. A dark SUV had crashed through the guardrail and was now engulfed in fire. Jake slammed on his brakes and jumped out of his truck. The heat hit him immediately, intense and dangerous. He ran toward the wreckage, his boots crunching on broken glass scattered across the asphalt. That's when he heard them. 2 small voices crying from inside the vehicle. Children. Without thinking, Jake pulled off his flannel shirt and wrapped it around his hand. The driver's side door was jammed shut. He could see a young woman in the front seat, unconscious, her blonde hair matted with blood. But in the back seat, 2 little girls with matching pigtails were screaming, their tiny hands pressed against a window. Twins. They couldn't have been more than 3 years old. The flames were spreading fast. Black smoke poured from under the hood. Jake knew he had seconds, not minutes. He grabbed a tire iron from his truck and smashed the back window. Glass shattered everywhere. The heat was unbearable now, singing the hair on his arms. He reached in and unbuckled the first little girl, pulling her out and setting her on the ground away from the fire. "Stay right here," he told her firmly. "Don't move." He dove back in for the second twin. The smoke was thick, choking him. His eyes burned. He found the buckle, released it, and pulled the second child free just as the flames reached the back seat. Both girls were crying hysterically. Jake scooped them up, one under each arm, and ran back to his truck. He set them in the cab, their faces covered in soot and tears. "You're safe now," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. "You're going to be okay." He turned back to the burning vehicle. The woman in the front seat hadn't moved. Jake ran toward the SUV again. But before he could reach it, the gas tank exploded with a thunderous boom that knocked him backward onto the pavement. The force of the blast left his ears ringing. He lay there for a moment, stunned, watching the vehicle become completely consumed by flames. There was nothing he could do now. Nothing anyone could do. He pulled out his cell phone with shaking hands and called 911. Within minutes, sirens filled the quiet evening air. Paramedics arrived, then police, then fire trucks. The twins were examined, treated for minor smoke inhalation, and wrapped in blankets. They clung to each other, still crying for their mother. A police officer approached Jake as the medics bandaged the burns on his arms. "You saved those girls' lives," the officer said. "If you hadn't come along when you did, they wouldn't have made it." Jake nodded, unable to find words. All he could think about was the woman in that front seat, someone's daughter, someone's mother. He had failed to save her. The paramedics took the twins to the hospital. Jake gave a statement to the police and finally drove home as the sun disappeared completely below the horizon. His hands gripped the steering wheel, still trembling. That night he couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those 2 little faces press against the glass, heard their screams, felt the heat of those flames. When dawn broke the next morning, Jake stepped outside to feed his chickens like he did every day. But something was different. The sound came first. A deep, rhythmic thumping that grew louder by the second. Jake looked up and his jaw dropped. Helicopters. 3 of them, descending toward his farm. They landed in his largest field, kicking up dust and hay. Jake stood frozen as people began emerging from the aircraft. Men in dark suits, security personnel, and then a woman. Even from a distance, Jake could see she carried herself with unmistakable authority. She walked toward him with purpose, flanked by 2 bodyguards. As she got closer, Jake recognized her face from news broadcasts and magazine covers. Victoria Ashford, one of the wealthiest women in America, CEO of Ashford Industries, a tech empire worth billions. "Mr. Morrison," she said, her voice thick with emotion, "I'm Victoria Ashford. Those 2 little girls you saved yesterday are my granddaughters, Emma and Lily." Jake felt the ground shift beneath him. "Your granddaughters?" "My daughter Sarah was driving them back from visiting their father when the accident happened." Victoria's composure cracked for just a moment. "Sarah didn't survive, but because of you, her babies did." Jake removed his worn baseball cap, holding it in his hands. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry for your loss. I tried to get to your daughter, but the fire—" "You did everything humanly possible," Victoria interrupted, tears now streaming down her face. "The police report said the crash happened because of mechanical failure. Sarah was likely unconscious before the car even stopped. You gave me the 2 most precious things I have left in this world. You gave me my granddaughters." Over the next hour, more vehicles arrived. News crews, despite Victoria's security trying to keep them back. A convoy of black SUVs carrying lawyers and assistants. Victoria's husband arrived in another helicopter, but Jake only cared about 2 things. "How are the girls?" he asked. "Physically, they'll be fine," Victoria said. "Emotionally, they're traumatized. They keep asking for the man who saved them. They call you the angel who pulled them from the fire." Jake felt his throat tighten. "I'm no angel, ma'am. Just someone who was in the right place at the right time." "Don't diminish what you did," Victoria said firmly. "You ran into burning wreckage twice. The fire chief said another 30 seconds, and those girls would have been gone." She reached into her jacket and pulled out an envelope. "This is a check. It's not payment because nothing could ever repay what you've given me, but I want you to have it." Jake opened the envelope and nearly dropped it. The check was for $5 million. "Ma'am, I can't accept this," he said, trying to hand it back. "You can and you will," Victoria said. "Additionally, I'm setting up a trust fund in your name. You'll never have to worry about money again. Your farm will be expanded, modernized, whatever you want. And if you ever need anything at all, you call me directly." Jake looked at this powerful woman standing in his dusty field, and he saw something beyond the wealth and influence. He saw a grandmother drowning in grief, but holding on to gratitude like a lifeline. "Can I see them?" Jake asked. "The girls, I mean, just to know they're really okay." Victoria smiled through her tears. "They've been asking for you since they woke up this morning." 2 days later, Jake visited the hospital. When he walked into the private room, 2 little blonde girls in matching pink pajamas looked up at him with wide eyes. For a moment,